Have you ever felt like fear is silently steering the course of your life, holding you back from seizing opportunities, or making you question your every decision? What if I told you that fear, in all its forms, whether it's the fear of failure, change, or the unknown, could be transformed into one of life's greatest teachers? Imagine the freedom of not being controlled by fear anymore, but instead using it as a tool to unlock your true potential. Ready to begin this journey? Let's dive in. Are you living in the shadow of fear? Maybe it's the fear of failure at work, the anxiety of facing change, or that vague feeling that the future might hold something terrible. Fear doesn't just hold us back, it robs us of our freedom, joy, and the precious opportunities that life has to offer. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this fear truly as powerful as it seems? Is it capable of controlling your entire life? Or is it merely a creation of your imagination, fueled by untested thoughts and assumptions? Stoicism, with its timeless wisdom, reveals the truth that many of us overlook. Fear is not your enemy. What I'm about to share with you isn't just abstract theory, it's practical, time-tested insights drawn from real-life experiences of applying Stoic principles to everyday situations. These lessons are the keys to unlocking your mental freedom, empowering you to overcome fear and live in alignment with your true potential. So, take a moment to focus. Don't miss a single part of what's ahead, because with every small step you take, you'll begin to see fear not as a barrier, but as one of life's greatest teachers. Let's embark on this journey together, starting right now. Number 1. Recognize your fear. When fear knocks at your door, your body is the first to respond. Almost instantly, it reacts in ways that seem beyond your control, triggered by the autonomic nervous system, specifically the fight or flight response. This survival mechanism, honed over thousands of years, was designed to help humans face threats in the natural world. A cascade of physiological signals announces the arrival of fear. Your heart begins to race, pumping blood to major muscle groups. In preparation for action, your pupils dilate, letting in more light, sharpening your ability to survey the environment. Your breathing becomes rapid and shallow, ensuring a greater intake of oxygen, while smaller extremities like your hands and feet might grow cold as blood is redirected to vital areas. Simultaneously, your adrenal glands release adrenaline and cortisol, two primary stress hormones. Adrenaline heightens your reaction speed, while cortisol directs your body's energy to critical functions necessary for survival. Yet, this comes at a cost. Non-essential processes, like digestion and the immune system, temporarily slow down. This is why fear often causes stomach discomfort, nausea, or that sinking knot in your gut. But fear doesn't stop at the physical. Your mind is swept up in a storm of negative thoughts. Whispered doubts grow louder, repeating themselves like a relentless mantra. Everyone will mock me if I make a mistake. I'm not good enough for this. Or perhaps something terrible is bound to happen. These thoughts don't simply arise, they seek to dominate, convincing you of their absolute truth. Worse yet, they act as fuel, feeding your fear, allowing it to spread and embed itself deeper within your soul. Picture this. You're standing on stage, preparing for an important presentation. Every eye in the room is fixed on you as you step forward. Your heart pounds, your throat dries, and your mind seems to go blank. These physical reactions are all rooted in fear, and they can make even the simplest tasks feel overwhelming. But what if you could use these moments of fear to your advantage? Recognizing your fear and understanding how it manifests physically and mentally is the first step in reclaiming control over it. So, what's next? How do you begin to move beyond the grip of fear and use it as a tool for growth? Let's explore how to transform these reactions into strengths. As we continue, think back to when fear first started to control your thoughts and decisions. What if you could reclaim the power to understand and challenge it? In that moment of fear, it's easy to let it take over. But if you pause for just a second and observe, you'll realize that the fear you feel isn't coming from the people in front of you. It's emanating from the thoughts flooding your mind. What if I mess up? Will they think I'm incompetent? These unanswered questions, if left unchecked, can quickly overwhelm you. But if you confront them, you'll see that fear is often nothing more than a narrative your mind has constructed. Epictetus once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but the views we take of them. It's the way we interpret and magnify situations in our minds that transforms fleeting fear into a formidable adversary. When you allow these thoughts to reign unchecked, you not only empower fear, but also relinquish control over your own life. So ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of? Where does this feeling truly stem from? Are you anxious about a future that hasn't happened yet? Or afraid of a failure that may never occur? Bring your focus back to the present. When you start questioning and seeking answers, fear begins to lose its grip. Identifying fear is not an innate skill, it's a habit that must be cultivated. By learning to observe and question your fear, you strip it of its power. Stoicism doesn't demand that you eradicate fear. Rather, it encourages you to face it with calmness and reason. As Seneca wisely noted, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The next time fear comes knocking, instead of succumbing to panic, take a moment to pause, listen, and identify it. This is the first step, and perhaps the most vital one, in reclaiming control over your life. Number 2, acknowledge and embrace your fears. You've identified your fear. The next step is even more challenging, admitting that it belongs to you. Recognizing fear is like spotting a shadow in a dark room. But admitting it, that's the moment you step forward, turn on the light, and confront its true shape. This isn't an act of surrender. It's an act of courage. Only when you dare to admit the fear residing in your heart can you begin the journey of transforming your relationship with it. Imagine standing on the brink of a familiar moment of tension. An important presentation looms, and you feel your heart pounding, cold sweat pooling in your palms. Negative thoughts crash over you like relentless waves. What if I make a mistake? What if they laugh at me? In that instant, instinct might urge you to push away the anxiety, to pretend the fear isn't real. But this is the trap. Emotions aren't something you can dismiss by sheer denial. Like a beach ball held underwater, the more you suppress them, the stronger they rebound. When you admit your fear, You take a powerful step toward connection with your emotions. Pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and tell yourself, I'm feeling anxious, and that's okay. This fear is part of me right now. Such words do not diminish you. They empower you. Just as a fighter cannot win a battle without understanding the movements of their opponent, you cannot overcome fear without first understanding and accepting its presence. I recall the story of a friend who was deeply afraid of heights. Every time he stood on a suspension bridge or looked down from a tall building, it felt as though the ground beneath him would give way. He tried to dispel his fear by thinking positive thoughts or pretending it didn't exist. But he soon realized that these tactics only intensified his unease. Eventually, he chose to acknowledge the truth. I'm afraid of heights, and this feeling makes me feel unsafe. By facing this reality, he found a sense of relief. From there, he began to confront heights step by step and, over time, conquered the fear that had haunted him for so long. Acknowledging fear is also an invitation to ask deeper questions about yourself. Have you ever wondered, where does this fear truly come from? Or, what exactly am I afraid will happen if I fail? By delving into these questions, you can uncover the strength needed to break through the limits fear imposes on you. Stoicism teaches us that emotions are not enemies, but signals that must be heard. To admit fear is not to yield to it, but to open the door to understanding and control. A person can face the greatest challenges only when they dare to admit their most authentic feelings. Remember, you are not alone in moments of fear. With fear now acknowledged and understood, it's time to take the next step in using it as a tool for growth. Ready to break free from the grip of fear and move toward a life of freedom? Let's explore how to turn that fear into strength. As we continue, remember that true growth comes from understanding the fear that holds us back. By facing it, we unlock the power to change our lives, from great leaders to ordinary individuals. Everyone has experienced the grip of fear, but it's those who face their fears, who acknowledge them, that transform fear into a source of power. The next time fear rises, resist the urge to flee. Instead, pause and engage in a conversation with yourself. I'm afraid, and that's okay. I'm ready to explore this fear and turn it into my strength. By doing so, you will feel a sense of lightness, and the fear will slowly lose its hold over you. Have you ever faced fear and chosen to acknowledge its presence instead of avoiding it? What helped you hold onto your courage in those moments? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might become a beacon of inspiration for others, guiding them to overcome their fears and find inner peace. Your words are not just personal reflections. They are a light for those lost in the dark. Number 3. Uncover the root cause of your fear. Imagine yourself as a detective, investigating the depths of your own soul. Ask simple yet powerful questions. Why am I afraid? Where did this fear begin? Was it planted by a past experience, or is it merely a projection of your imagination? As you start asking these questions, the layers of fear begin to peel away, revealing what lies beneath. Picture this familiar moment. You're standing before a crowd. Every eye is on you, and a wave of fear crashes over you. You're terrified of saying the wrong thing, of being mocked, of the awkward silence that might follow a stumble in your words. But if you take a step back and look deeper, you'll realize that this fear doesn't come from the gazes of those before you. It emerges from fragments of your past. Perhaps it was the time you were laughed at for a wrong answer in class, or the first time you spoke in front of a group and felt so embarrassed. You wanted to disappear. These painful memories, though dormant, still live within you, rising to the surface in moments of vulnerability. But what if you could see this connection? What if you could understand that the past no longer holds the power to dictate your present? Would that fear still loom as large, perhaps as the light of awareness shines upon it? You'd see that fear shrink into nothing more than a faint shadow. Let's take an even closer example. A young, ambitious professional stands at the threshold of a career breakthrough. Instead of excitement, he hesitates, gripped by the fear of failure. That fear holds him back. But when he sits down to reflect, he realizes it doesn't stem from the job or his abilities. It comes from his childhood, from the moments when his parents, though well-meaning, criticized him harshly whenever he fell short of expectations. Those words, meant to encourage, instead planted a false belief that failure equates to inadequacy, that even a single mistake is enough to lose others' respect. But is failure truly so terrifying? Or is it our tendency to let old wounds shape the present that causes the pain? Now, shift to another kind of fear, one deeper and more profound. The fear of losing someone you love. It's the helplessness of imagining that one day that person might no longer be by your side. But does this fear really come from the thought of separation itself, or from the scars of past pain? Perhaps you were abandoned in a previous relationship, or you lost someone dear to you, and now this fear quietly resurfaces like an old wound left unhealed. This fear may not even relate to the person you love, but to your own belief that you aren't strong enough to face solitude. Yet ask yourself, is loss truly the frightening part? Or is it the thought that you might not endure it that causes you to tremble? Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we have the power to choose our response to whatever happens. By uncovering the roots of fear, you reclaim the power to change. Imagine fear as a powerful gust of wind. You can't stop it from blowing, but you can learn why it's there, where it's coming from, and where it might go. Once you understand the wind, it no longer feels as threatening. Fear is not an invincible foe. It is merely an emotion, a reaction crafted by your mind. By daring to ask questions, you begin to dismantle its power. Why am I afraid? Where does this feeling originate? Does this fear truly reflect reality? Or is it an exaggerated projection of my imagination? You may be surprised to find that most fears are nothing more than phantoms created by the mind itself. Through analysis and understanding, you'll discover that fear is not a fixed entity. It's something you can shape, manage, and ultimately overcome. Remember, every fear carries a lesson within it. By facing it and exploring its origins, you transcend not just the fear itself, but also the limitations it imposes on you. Understanding the root of fear is a monumental step in reclaiming your power. As we delve deeper into the process of transforming fear, Let's explore the next lesson: how to turn this newfound understanding into actionable steps that will empower you to face any challenge. Ready? Let's move forward. As we continue, remember, fear, though powerful, is not who you are. It's a passing wave that, when understood, can be navigated with ease and calm. But to truly conquer fear, you must go further. Fear is not you, and you are not fear. It is a fleeting psychological phenomenon. Like a wave on the surface of the ocean, the wave may be turbulent, but beneath it, you remain a vast, serene, and boundless sea when you learn to separate yourself from the emotion of fear. You'll realize that it holds no power over you unless you allow yourself to be consumed by it. This shift in perception is crucial. From uncovering the root of fear to recognizing it as something external to your essence. The process of detaching yourself from it is what truly sets you free. Number 4. Do not identify yourself with the feeling of fear. Much like clouds drifting across the sky, is not your essence. It is merely a fleeting part of the human experience, a passing phenomenon that does not define who you are. Stoicism reminds us that emotions are ripples on the surface of the mind's lake. Beneath that surface lies a profound stillness that is always within your reach. Imagine a gloomy day with the sky shrouded in gray clouds. You look up, feeling the weight of their presence, and your mind begins to spin stories of an impending storm. But if you pause and observe closely, you'll notice that those clouds are in constant motion, shifting, changing, and eventually dissolving. Fear operates the same way. It arrives, stirs your thoughts and feelings, but it never stays forever. Like those transient clouds, fear pauses. To break free from fear's grip, you must first realize that you are not your emotions. When fear rises, take a step back, as if standing on the shore, watching a powerful wave crash against the sand. The wave might be intense, even threatening, but you are not the wave. Ask yourself, why am I afraid? What in this situation is making me anxious? Does this feeling truly reflect reality, or is it just my interpretation? These questions are tools to help you identify the root of your fear, understand its origins, and observe it calmly. Consider a moment when you are about to speak in front of a large audience. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind spirals into thoughts like, what if I forget my lines? What if they laugh at me? This is fear taking control. But instead of letting it dictate your actions, pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself, this is just an emotion. It's not the truth. I can overcome this. By observing your fear as an outsider, you'll realize that it's not as overwhelming as it seems. You'll see that fear is a natural response of the body, not a prophecy of failure. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate a sense of stillness within the mind, a space where you can step outside your emotions and view them objectively. No matter how powerful a feeling may seem, it is confined to the surface. Deep within, you hold the power to control your mind and choose how to respond to any situation. Think of a familiar scenario. You receive the news that you didn't get the dream job you've been hoping for. Immediately, fear about the future engulfs you. You wonder what this means for your career, your finances, or your self-worth. The initial wave of fear may feel overwhelming, but if you take a moment to pause, you'll see that this is just one moment in time. It doesn't define who you are or dictate the course of your life. By stepping outside the immediate emotional reaction, you begin to regain control over your mind and your response. As you continue on your journey, remember this: fear is not permanent. It is not an indomitable force, it is simply an emotion. With practice and self-awareness, you can master it, allowing it to guide you rather than control you. So, as we take the next step, let's explore how to harness your inner strength, align your thoughts, and build a life of intentional focus. Ready for what's next? Let's move forward together. As we continue, let's pause for a moment and reflect on how often we let fear distort our perception of situations, making them seem far more daunting than they actually are. You begin to worry about finances, about what others will think, and a sense of failure takes over. But if you pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this event truly as catastrophic as I'm making it out to be? Am I assigning it more significance than it deserves? You'll begin to see your fear for what it is: a reaction shaped by your perception, not the event itself. A job, no matter how desirable, is not the sole measure of your worth. This setback is only a small step in the larger journey of your life. Remember, dissociating yourself from fear doesn't mean denying or avoiding your emotions. Instead, it means understanding that emotions are merely phenomena like rain, wind, or passing clouds in the vast expanse of your inner sky. They are transient, impermanent, and unable to define you unless you allow them to. The next time fear appears, try stepping back and simply observing. Let it move through you like a cloud, without clinging to it or resisting it. You'll find that when you stop identifying yourself with your emotions, you are truly free. And that freedom is at the heart of Stoicism, a serene and unshakable soul, standing strong amidst life's tempests. If you're still with me at this moment, I want to congratulate you. It shows that you're not among those who easily give up. You are here to change, to grow, and to reclaim control over your life. This journey isn't a quick fix. It's a profound transformation, a process where each step connects and builds upon the last. So stay with it until the end. When this path is complete, you'll hold a clear and powerful strategy to face fear, leaving no room for doubt or hesitation. Number 5. Shift your perspective on fear. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have, the power to revoke at any moment." These words are a key to unlocking the chains of fear. Pain does not lie in the events themselves, but in how we perceive them. Think back to the last time you felt afraid. Was your fear truly rooted in what was happening, or was it born from your imagination? Reflect on a presentation you dreaded, a conversation you avoided, or a challenge you ran from. Was it reality that frightened you, or the exaggerated scenarios you painted in your mind? Fear has a way of magnifying everything. We worry about an interview because we fear being judged, or that a small mistake might cost us everything. But in truth, who among us hasn't made mistakes? Interviewers, audiences, they are human too, and they rarely hold the harsh expectations we impose on ourselves. To shift your perspective, start by asking, am I blowing this fear out of proportion if things don't go as planned? What can I learn from the experience? Stoicism goes beyond simply revealing that fear is a construct of the mind. It challenges us to see fear as an opportunity for growth. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads, faced with a life-changing decision, such as moving to a new city or starting a completely different career. Instead of focusing on what might go wrong, ask yourself, what can this challenge teach me? Can I emerge from this as a better version of myself? These questions not only help calm your fears, but also transform them into a source of motivation. Remember, every fear carries a valuable lesson. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, failed thousands of times before succeeding. Yet he never viewed those failures as something to fear. They were stepping stones leading him closer to his goal. As Edison famously said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. For him, failure wasn't frightening, it was simply part of the journey of discovery. In our daily lives, there are small but persistent fears. You might hesitate to voice your opinion in a meeting, worried that others will laugh or disagree. Yet, if you shift your perspective, you'll see that your ideas contribute to the conversation's richness. Even if you're wrong, your input fosters collective progress. That fear, instead of being a barrier, becomes an opportunity to cultivate confidence and courage. When viewed objectively, fear is no longer an invisible monster. Instead, it becomes a mental exercise, a challenge that strengthens you. Perhaps you felt fear before a significant life change, only to realize later that confronting and overcoming it shaped who you are today. Ask yourself, what is this fear really telling me? What am I avoiding? And what can I learn from it? Fear is not a one-way ticket to failure. It is a crossroads where you can choose your actions, your perspective, and your growth. By facing it head-on, you transform fear from an obstacle into a path towards self-discovery and resilience. Shifting our perspective allows us to approach fear with a sense of calm. But to take it a step further, we must dare to confront the possibility of that fear becoming reality. Imagine the worst-case scenario. Not to. Let's take that next step together, moving from fear to action, ready to explore how you can face even your worst-case scenarios with courage. Keep going, there's so much more to uncover. As we dive deeper, remember that often the fear we experience is a product of our imagination, and it's only when we face it that we can truly conquer it. Now, let's explore how confronting our deepest fears head-on can strip them of their power. Number 6. Imagine the worst-case scenario. We often have a natural tendency to avoid thinking about worst-case scenarios. The very thought of them can fill us with unease and fear. But here's the paradox. Stoicism advises us to do the exact opposite. Why? Because facing our fears, imagining them in vivid detail, actually weakens their hold over us. Think back to the last time you worried about something. Did you imagine it spiraling into a catastrophic disaster? We tend to paint these worst-case scenarios in our minds, imagining the worst possible outcome. But more often than not, reality unfolds far less dramatically than our fears. So, instead of running from fear, Stoicism encourages us to face it head-on by imagining the worst-case scenario as if it were happening right now. Picture this. You're afraid of losing your job. It's a very real fear, as a job represents not only income, but also stability and self-worth. Instead of letting this fear paralyze you, ask yourself, if I were to lose my job tomorrow, what would happen? At first, the thought might overwhelm you: shock, sadness, a sudden need to cut back on expenses, and the pressure to find a new job quickly. But pause for a moment, step back, and look further. Would losing your job truly be the catastrophe you think it is? Many people who faced job loss discover unexpected opportunities. It could be the chance to explore a new career path, or perhaps the time to invest in learning new skills you've been postponing. By courageously visualizing the worst-case scenario and allowing yourself to mentally live through it, you begin to realize it's not as terrifying as it seems. The practice of negative visualization isn't about making you pessimistic or resigned to failure. It's about preparing yourself and taking control. Now, imagine your greatest fears, whether it's losing your job, failing a major project, or even losing someone you love. Let your mind step into those scenarios. Experience the pain. Consider how you'd respond. When you do this, you strip these fears of their power to blindside you, because you've already faced them in your mind and prepared yourself. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." Fear does not reside in the events themselves, but in the way we perceive them. Take, for example, the scenario of failing during an important presentation. The room goes silent. You make a mistake, and the audience stares at you with doubt. It's a frightening thought. But ask yourself, is it the end of the world, or could it be a lesson, a stepping stone to improve and grow? The way you think about that moment determines whether it becomes a failure or a valuable opportunity for growth. Visualizing your fears isn't an act of pessimism, it's an act of courage. It's the mindset of someone who understands that while life is filled with uncertainties beyond our control, we can always control how we respond to them. Ask yourself, if the thing you fear most were to happen, would it really be as devastating as you imagine? If it is, what would you do to cope? More importantly, would it stop you from living a meaningful life? If you're ready to try, sit in silence. Close your eyes and imagine your fear. Let it unfold in your mind and consider how you would respond. You'll find that by confronting it head-on, fear begins to lose its grip on you. As you move forward. Remember, this exercise not only gives you clarity, but also prepares you to face challenges with a calm and collected mind. Now, as we continue, let's explore the next step in managing fear: how to cultivate resilience in the face of life's uncertainties. As we continue, think about the fear you've been carrying. What if facing it head-on could unlock a strength you never knew you had? Take a moment to comment, "I will overcome my fear," to mark this turning point in your journey toward courage. Allow yourself to confront that fear to live with it in your mind, and then ask, does this truly have the power to control me? You'll find that even in the face of adversity, the strength within you remains. And that is the essence of Stoicism: freedom, tranquility, and unshakable courage in the face of life's greatest challenges. Number 7. Confront your fear head-on. Facing fear has never been easy. Yet it is in those very moments of confrontation that we discover a hidden strength within ourselves, one we often don't realize exists. Stoicism teaches us that fear itself is not the greatest adversary. It is our response to fear that truly defines us. Instead of allowing fear to control our lives, we are encouraged to face it, engage with it, and transform it into a part of our growth journey. Consider the everyday fears we all experience. Are you afraid of failing at work? Afraid of rejection in love? Or perhaps you carry a nameless dread whenever you think about an uncertain future? The essence of fear often doesn't lie in the actual event, but in the way our minds amplify it. These fears, when viewed from a distance, appear as massive shadows looming over us. But as we take steps closer to them and face them bit by bit, we begin to see that they are far less intimidating than we imagined. Imagine someone terrified of public speaking. At first, even the thought of standing on a stage makes them tremble. Their voice falters, and their palms sweat uncontrollably. But then they decide to take small, deliberate steps, speaking in front of close friends, participating in small team meetings, and gradually addressing larger audiences. With each step, their fear diminishes until, one day, they realize that what once felt impossible has now become a valuable skill. This is the essence of confronting fear: taking incremental actions to face it, and discovering that the reality isn't as terrifying as our imagination made it out to be. The stories of soldiers under Marcus Aurelius serve as a powerful testament to this philosophy. The battlefield, fraught with death, suffering, and chaos, was a place where fear was ever present. But Marcus taught his soldiers to see fear not as an enemy, but as an inevitable part of life. The fear of war, pain, or even death, when confronted daily, no longer paralyzed them. Instead, it became a motivator, sharpening their focus on what they could control: their courage, their skills, and their camaraderie. In our everyday lives, we must take similar actions. Instead of letting fear linger and sap our willpower, we can ask ourselves, what's the worst that could happen? By imagining the worst-case scenario clearly, we often find that most of our fears are not as overwhelming as they seem. If you fear failing a project, start with small steps and accept that failure is often part of success. If you fear being alone, spend time in solitude to realize that you can be perfectly content without external validation. Seneca once said, "What we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do." Fear is not merely an obstacle, it's a lesson, an opportunity to discover the strength that lies within us. Don't shy away from it. Start small, progress slowly, and remain patient. Let each encounter with fear be a step closer to true mental freedom. When you step out of your comfort zone and confront what scares you, you not only diminish the fear, but also uncover a version of yourself that is stronger than ever. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. So why let fear hold you back from the life you've always dreamed of? Face it, one step at a time. Change begins with the smallest actions you take today. We've just explored 7 powerful methods to overcome fear through the lens of Stoicism. So, as we look toward the next step, let's dive deeper into how you can turn those lessons into lasting change and continued growth. Ready to keep going? Let's continue this journey together. As we continue, remember that the key to overcoming fear lies not just in understanding it, but in taking action to confront it head-on. We've explored timeless lessons from philosophers who have inspired generations. Each method shared goes beyond mere theory, offering practical, relatable actions that you can begin implementing starting today. Fear, when faced head-on, ceases to be a barrier and instead transforms into a bridge that leads you toward a life of freedom, strength, and fulfillment. Remember, change begins with the smallest steps. Every decision you make, every challenge you face, every fear you confront, these are the building blocks that will shape your future. And as long as you remain persistent, the results will surpass your greatest expectations. If you found this video helpful but haven't hit the like button yet, take a moment to do so. It's the greatest encouragement for us to keep creating valuable content like this. And don't forget to leave a comment, sharing your thoughts or telling us about a fear you faced in the past. What did you learn from it? What was the turning point for you? Why not share this video with your loved ones? It could be the gift they need to face their own fears and challenges with renewed courage and strength. Finally, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We have so much more incredible content on the way, just waiting for you to discover. Thank you for being part of this journey, and we'll see you next time.